Craig, it was good to start phase two at the weekend with a 3-1 victory against Cardiff Met, and it sent us 3 points clear at the top of the table.
Yeah, it did definitely. It was a good overall performance. Obviously, a bit disappointed with the goal, but I thought from a performance, it carried on from our performance away from home against Cardiff Met 2-0. We passed the ball really well, had really good possession, and certainly the first 20 minutes I thought were excellent. And the game lulled a little bit when they scored a goal, and then we're back on it again in dominated possession. In second half, possibly could have been a few more and a few more opportunities we had, but I thought the last two games have been very, very good, from what I wanted to improve on from previously.
Well, there's another big game for your side this weekend. Penybont visit Park Hall in a huge top of the table clash.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's another big game. The all big games at this moment in time. Penybont have had an unbelievably great season. They've got a really good manager, good players, and obviously challenge we're up there. So we know it's going to be a tough game. We know it's going to be a tight game. They've obviously they beat away from home. We beat them at home in the first phase, and it's just a bit more importantly, it's about our performance again. We've had another good week's training this week. That's where I think we've been missing, with the European games and catch-up games. We've had no training rhythm. Over the last 3 weeks, we've had some good training rhythm, and certainly, from the performances that I'm looking at and what I want out of the games, and you can certainly tell in the performances that we've had some good training sessions.
It was certainly a tough game when Penybont visited Park Hall in phase one. They were 2-0 up at the break. Whatever you said at half-time clearly worked because we came out and won 3-2 in the end.
Yeah, it did. I think it was massively against the run of play at the time. I thought we were as good as what we've been in phase one, the first half hour, and then to find ourselves down 2-0 down at half time, I think was, it wasn't a true reflection, on the game. But it is what it was, 2-0, and we had to turn it around. In all credit to the players that did, they knew how important it was, and they certainly performed again in the second half like they did in the first half and took opportunities.
Well, Penybont are without a win in the last two games. Do you think that will make them a more dangerous opponent this weekend as they need to come back to Park Hall and get back to winning ways?
Yeah, look, Penybont are a dangerous opponent, and they have been for quite a while now. Like you said, they've got some very good players. They've got good coaches, good manager. They've got lots of experience in the team. So whether they hadn't won in 2 games or they'd won 9 out the last 9, they're going to be a tough opponent, and we know that, and we've been preparing for that this week.
Well, the transfer window has come to a close now. There was a little bit of business in the final days of the window. Declan McManus has left the club. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I would like to wish Dec all the best. I had the pleasure of working with Dec for 2.5 years, and and he's done phenomenal for the football club. His numbers speak for themselves. I think it was time. Dec wanted to move on and challenge himself in a different way, and the club didn't stand in his way, and we we wish him all the best. He's a good guy, and he's done fantastic for the club. And he's got a lovely family, so I wish Dec and his family all the best moving forward.
We had incomings as well. Louis Phillips has joined from Newport City. He's an exciting prospect to have at the club.
Yeah, he is. We're talking about young players, 18, 19-year-olds. He's got a lovely left foot. He's got good pace. He's got good balance. He's got all the potential to be a typical TNS winger. So there's a lot of potential there. He's come in and trained with for a week. He got 10 minutes on Saturday right at the end, a little cameo at the end, and and he's fitted in really well. We've got a really good set of lads here who welcome people in, and there's a lot of demands put on people here in training behind the scenes and games. The standards are very, very high from myself, the staff, and also the players that are already here. It's something that I'm really, really, I think it's important to drive them standards every day. And and he's bedded in well. He's only been in a week, but now he's a credit to him. He's come in and he hasn't looked out of place, which is the biggest compliment I can pay him.
Gwion David Hawthorne returned from Colwyn Bay on deadline day. He scored a lot of goals for the Seagulls in the Cymru North this season, so it must be great to have him back at your disposal for these key runner games.
Yeah, it is definitely. We had 1 or 2 things in the pipeline. We wanted to get another one in, ideally, before the window closed. We've obviously still got a free agent space available and someone to bring in. So we're still working on 1 or 2, obviously one of them, but we've got 2 or 3 options with that. But Gwion's done fantastic for Colwyn Bay. It was 18 months ago, Gwion was scoring in the Cymru Prem for Wayne, doing a really good job. So he's matured from then. He's obviously got goals at Colwyn Bay. He's got himself I think 20 odd games of men's football consistently, competitive football. He's obviously done really well. He's been doing well in training. He still trains with ourselves. So we it was a no-brainer to bring him back. You know, certainly when we couldn't get anyone into at the end of the window, you know, we looked at 2 or 3 loans possible, you know, from Championship and Premier League clubs, and it didn't quite work out. So now Guion's come back in, and he certainly knows where the net is, and all the lads know him, and he's a confident young man. So he should be this season, the half a season he's had on loan at Colwyn Bay. So now we're looking forward to having Guion back in with a full time, and no doubt about it, you know, whatever level Guion's playing at, he score goals.
And finally, Craig, what's the injury situation looking like ahead of the game this weekend?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more of a headache for myself, because, you know, we're getting players fit again. You know, the only one really is, you know, is Josh Daniels. You know, Josh is out until, you know, I'm not too sure when, but he's got a operation penciled in for the 14th of February. So then Josh will have probably 2 or 3 months out after that as well. So that's the only one at this moment in time. Ash Baker's been back on the pitch. Ryan Astley's been back on the pitch. You know, Adrian Sizovic has been back on the pitch. So, you know, Jordan Williams has been back on the pitch. So yeah, it's we've got you know, I've certainly got another tough job to do to pick the 11, then pick the squad, you know, for the match day. But we're really pleased with it. We've got everyone back in, and it's really good competition with places.